Hey, everybody. We are in Huntington Beach, California. We are in our Airbnb. And if you think that we look exhausted and run over, it's because WonderCon 2023 just ended for us. So here we are.
Yeah, it's been literally the craziest weekend ever. I feel like despite it was much more manageable to do this Comic Con versus Dragon Con. That one was sporadic and in many locations. So this was what wanted, and it makes sense. And it was crazy to see all these different creators, cosplayers, and then also the vendors. Like we went through and looked at the art and stuff, especially today, and it was just absolutely stunning. There's so many talented people that we got to see here today.
hmm And it was this doing this WonderCon was like a bit of a quest for us. Like for those of you who are following, we did Dragon Con in Atlanta back in September. But WonderCon was like one of the big fish, right, that we wanted to do. And at first we didn't think we were going to be able to do it. I was going to be going solo because Kayla had a wedding to go to.
And I said, nah, man. No, circumstances just helped a lot and worked in our favor. We spoke it into existence and it happened. So here we are. And yeah, we made the most out of it. And there no downside. It unexpected, or I don't even say unexpectedly, but like it just kept getting better and better.
hmm Yeah, it was I think it ended up way more than we anticipated, like in a very good way. Like, we went in thinking like, oh, okay, it's a con. And we knew that there were a ton of people that we wanted to meet. And we got to meet them all and then some.
Yes.
We got in Friday night. We didn't go to the con Friday. We did end up going, we went yesterday, which would have been Saturday. And it was absolutely unreal. Like, guys, if you've been to any of these big cons, and if you haven't, I don't think pictures can express the level of quality of cosplay that these people are putting into it. It is just absolutely mind-blowing.
It is. And so when you can do it in person, oh my gosh. And that was, I think, one of my favorite parts is like for most of the people that we got to see, you can see a lot of good details and stuff like on Instagram, but being there in person of like seeing exactly how harnesses are being put on or when things break, it is kind of a little bit of a relief too for some of the people who are not as popular on Instagram or they're just getting started, like even the pros there is always something that breaks. So it's kind of like something nice to see.
Right. And the level of ingenuity that people have. Like you always end up amazed when you see something, and you're like, oh my God, that person did this and they did it this way and they managed to pull it off. And, it's cool and you have a good laugh out of it. And you hopefully you get a picture of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can get a picture with them,
Oh my God.
And it was absolutely mind blowing. Of course, if you've done WonderCon, if you've seen the pictures, the famous fountain that's in front of the Anaheim Convention Center, which is like, felt like where all the action was.
Which is nice to have a central point like that because I feel like in Dragon Con, with there being 5 different hotels where you'd be walking through, like you miss people. And then like if you just plant yourself, which is what we did kind of at the end today, where we just sat in one location of rest, but like just sitting there, which was right by the fountain, we saw so many people go by. Which was like one of my favorite parts too, just like people watching and just sitting and relaxing and yeah, the details and all that crazy stuff. Like it gives you a lot of good inspiration going to a con if you don't really know what you want to do next. If you go to one, you'll have a lot of ideas by the end.
For sure. It's great. It's crazy. We cannot go on enough about it because the cosplay that we're seeing people doing, and I mean from every realm of everything unimaginable to the point where there are some that are easy recognizable. There are variants that people do, and there are some where it like takes you a minute where you're like, oh, shit, Kayla, who is that?
That one guy, right?
Yeah, that one guy. Yeah, we got to in person meet all of the Iron Idiots,
Yeah.
which was fantastic. They were in their full armor out there doing their Iron Idiocy in all its glory. And yeah, a ton of other people we met there. Of course, we got to meet Brittany finally, after like being on the podcast and being in live streams with us, and got to meet her. If you're following either one of us on Instagram, you've already seen like all of our posts, which there are many. And mine specifically, I made a highlight reel just for WonderCon 2023. So like even after they expire, you can go and view all those and all the absolute mayhem that happened.
that it's been so much in such a short amount of time. And like when like last night was my favorite night. And we haven't done like any kind of after parties before or like hung out with people because either we're just literally so tired or it just wasn't happening or well, I mean it's always happening, but we're just like, okay, we're going home. Um so with the fact we got to do that and everyone was comfortable and casual and got to have some recharge time, I think that's so needed. And like, yeah, we look like ass. Or I'll at least speak for myself because I'm recovering from bronchitis. So I just like from laughing so hard on this trip is brought back all my coughing again. But oh my God, it's been it's been so good.
Yeah, we went to the after party in the lobby bar at the Hyatt Hilton there at the Anaheim Convention Center last night. I want to say we got there around 9 p.m. And then somewhere after 2 a.m. we were riding on our way back to where Airbnb was. And it was like the night was absolutely unreal. I mean, from like definitely from a friendship and meeting people perspective, because there were so many cosplayers there that like we had never met before or we had met before, but it was kind of one of those like, oh hey, I'm so and so. Oh yeah, how are you?
Yeah, in passing.
Yeah, but when you add the massive social lubricant of alcohol to the mix,
Oh my God, everyone got hammered.
yeah, everyone got hammered last night. And it was oh god, it was just absolutely unreal.
It was. And to have, we're all a bunch of nerds getting together and yeah, and everyone's a little liquored up. But that's where like the good conversation started flowing, where like you got to learn more about people and their passions and like granted you get like kind of like the framework of it, but then people like give you the deep details or about other parts of their lives, which I think are just as interesting. So like the real stuff comes out and it was so fun to like meet people that I had only seen pictures of and then just hearing about their life.
Mm-hmm. And then, as an added bonus, which was something we did not expect at all, we got invited to go up to the Iron Idiots hotel room. And, frankly, Bill, who's been such a good friend to us and to the show,
Yes.
is just a fantastic guy. And then, of course, Kiera, Emily, Danny, CTK Creations, Nick. Yeah, we went up to the hotel room and saw the absolute madness that was their joined rooms slash suit workshop.
Yeah.
Like it was at like
crazy.
yeah, literally like one of the rooms, the entire like counters and desks was set up like one giant like workstation for all of their stuff. There's like a shelf of helmets and all their armor was there. And that was just cool because that was like super cash. It was super laid back. They had their own like mini bar going on up there.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun too. And being able to kind of ask those kind of questions of like how does things work, seeing the pieces and just how many pieces there really are to a suit. And then when you put all of them together, it was like a tornado just went through an Iron Man factory and then boom. But yeah, that's the one thing I love about cosplay because like over a year ago, we didn't know any of them and they didn't know us, obviously. And to just have such great friendships and where we got to meet people for the first time in person and talk to them, and some of them like didn't even know us going into it, but then like when we're coming out we're like we know each other by name, we already shared some stories and some jokes, and we're like I just love that part about cosplay and conventions and that's why we do the podcast too, is so we can bring that to you guys but also so we can experience ourselves, because we were reminiscing earlier about just like kind of growing up and like being weird kids, right? And it's just a bunch of weird kids all together now. And to be able to find people who have so much in common while also having completely foreign parts of their lives too, but they put that aside, come here and just hang out and accept one another. Like that's what I really got out of yesterday and like hanging out with all of them throughout the whole weekend is like I just felt like super accepted and I loved watching their stuff, not just because of how talented they are, but like the passion that they have behind it and the hard work really shows in their work.
Absolutely. And we have gone on and on about this on the podcast, and there's a reason for it, is that this is like such a fantastic community. The people who make up this community are like the kindest, most loving, most accepting people in the world. Because at one point in time, all of us felt like a misfit toy.
Yeah.
And now together we're just like this island of misfit toys. And it's so great. And just like Kayla was saying, it was like insanely heartwarming when you have someone like a cosplayer that you've been following on Instagram for a long time. And then we got to go to the after party last night and get introduced to them. And you look each other up on Instagram, and then a couple hours later you've got an arm around each other laughing, telling jokes. Like, that was just, it's hard to like convey in words like that level of just fucking awesomeness. But we had an absolute freaking blast.
Yeah, we did. And even too, like if you're someone who we met at Comic-Con that came to the podcast, or if you're people who were waiting to meet other people or meet us or whatever, and we got to chat, thank you for joining in today and listening, because every single person, we remember the encounter and we reminisce on like talking and seeing all the cool cosplays and meeting new people and getting to follow them. And regardless of this is your first time listening or however many episodes we have out now and you've listened to them all, we appreciate you guys being here and wanting to listen and being a part of the army that, we love just as much as they love the stuff that we put out.
Mm-hmm. And you're dead on. And that was great being last night. And granted, it would have just been another giant bar full of people anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
But because it was all cosplayers and it was all nerds, it had like a very excited / mellow vibe to it. Like, everybody was just grooving. Everybody was just in a mood. Everybody was great. Everybody was having a good time. Everybody was unwinding. And that was, I think, one of the coolest parts.
That's a really good way to describe it too. Like, I didn't even think about that until now, but yeah, like, and you could easily just go, and that's the other thing, is you could just go into like a group and be like, hey, I like this, tell me more. And they will. Like, it's not weird that no one's like super clicky. Like, people can be naturally, but like people are open to talking about stuff even after the fact. So I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy an after party like that. It was great.
Yeah, and I think we went into it initially with just sort of like, yeah, we'll go hang out and see what's up. And then by the time we were like getting back to our Airbnb and collapsing somewhere around 2:30 in the morning, we were both just like, oh my God, like that just happened. That was fucking crazy. And it was so much fun. I didn't want it to stop. And there was part of me when I got up this morning wanted it to happen again tonight.
Oh.
But we are roasted. We are absolutely tagged.
Yeah, you're right. I know, I kind of felt the same. And I'm like, if only we could have that again, like next month or next week. Totally go for it. But like, yeah, time is of the essence and it's dwindling. So across the board, oh my God, is how I would describe WonderCon.
Yeah. And and back to actually being at the con at the time it was going on. I'm gonna like toot my own horn because I had a blast doing the Red Guardian cosplay.
You were ahead.
If anybody was following me on Instagram, they've seen like the helmet that I did and the suit and then the shield. The nice thing about me cosplaying Red Guardian is that I didn't have to do any makeup or anything. My beard is naturally gray, and I've been growing out and the hair to make it look like I've been in a prison. So for all my friends who aren't into cosplay, who just think I lost my job or something, like that's really what was going on. I think every Yelena and every Black Widow there had to stop me for a photo because let's face it, like Red Guardian's not something that people typically cosplay. And there's a ton of photos out there and videos that were taken by other people. Some of them may never see.
Yeah.
Some of them I hope I do because they were really, really great. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic too, because you're someone who hasn't really done a lot of actual cosplays. You're a convention goer, but you never really did it until more recently, where you did Butcher. So I think it was really cool too. Not only did you do like your second one, but you also did your third one too, which was Hopper.
Yeah, did Jim Hopper today from Stranger Things, those of you.
Yeah, so like I think that's really cool to see you growing in that way as well. And like, Red Garden was a hit. It made me wish I had my Taskmaster with, but I need to do lots of repairs. But yeah, he's an iconic character, and you were absolutely killing it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Had so much fun of that. The amount of time I remember going to cons, just like Kayla said, I'm only recently like started to like embellish the cosplay side of it. And it was always interesting to me going to cons for as many years as I have and stopping cosplayers all the time to get pictures of them because you're like, that's so cool. I got to get a picture. I got to get a picture. And then I felt what it was like to be on the receiving end of that, where like every time you turn around, somebody's like, hey, can I get a picture? Hey, can I get a picture? And that was, of course, I had to get as many of those pictures as I could myself. Some of them you just can't because somebody walks up on the phone and, hey, can I get a picture? Thank you. And walks away. And you're like, okay.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Right.
See you hopefully one day. Yeah, no, it can be crazy when it comes to that, but I'm glad that we both had such a good time and sleeping. I think I slept the best I've ever slept last night. And insert photo here of me just tanked. And I don't like. I remember getting into bed barely, and then I was awake 6 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know. My breathing rate must have been so slow.
Mhm.
I was in the deepest sleep of my life. Ugh.
Yeah, we were really slow getting up and getting rolling this morning. We took our time. We kind of got up and kind of and stared at each other like, what happened last night? Like that was did you remember? Yeah, I've got a picture of it. Okay. Yeah, that did happen. All right, cool, cool, cool.
I know, yeah. I think I fumbled with something while I was taking a picture and like all you see is my foot. And I'm like, and it says like 2:15 a.m. I'm like, what was I trying to do here? But yeah, I think yeah, and also our time differences too, because like when we went to bed, it was technically like 5 a.m. my time, and the jet lag is wild, but we're making it through, man.
Yeah, we're getting to it. So we one of the things that I know we've talked about in the past in the podcast, but something that is extremely special about Kayla and I on these trips is that we're both foodies. Like
Oh,
we love food. Like I know people say they love food. No, you don't understand.
that's my
We
career.
love food. And we have found some of the coolest restaurants since we've been here. And we went to, I don't remember the name of it. We went to this restaurant this morning and Kayla had what she calls the most beautiful plate of pancakes she's ever seen in her life. Were they Oreo? Is that?
Oreo crumble, yeah, and they had like a vanilla glaze on it, like from the cream of the actual middle.
Mm,
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
yeah, those pancakes. Oh my God, guys! Like, and I do describe my food as beautiful when I do think it is, and that one was gorgeous.
Hmm.
Oh my God! And I have half of it for breakfast tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it.
And I had the crab cake eggs Benedict, which you want to talk bouge.
Yeah,
Like that's bouge AF. Yeah.
look out for our new Instagram.
Right, yeah. Chowed that down like nobody's business. And then it was CVS because we needed Pedialyte
Ibuprofen.
and ibuprofen. And then eventually we got dressed. Kayla did her, would you call it a Hermione or just a Harry, like a Hogwarts student cosplay?
You know, as a redhead, I'm just gonna dub it as Ginny.
Okay.
But initially was a Hermione cosplay, but I'm like, I'm not about wearing a wig today after wearing a wig all day yesterday, so I just let my hair be natural, but I'll take it as any, which is funny because everyone's like, oh, I'm actually a Slytherin, and I'm like, I'm actually a Slytherin too, and they're like, oh. I'm like, I'm getting intel.
Yeah. Undercover Hogwarts student.
Yes. Oh my God. But yeah, there's a few of those too. So that the amount of rogues we've seen though,
Yeah.
it felt like in par with Spider-Man, which Rogue was my first day, and it was so cool. It's like being in the multiverse where I got to see all these different types of rogues and like all shapes, colors, everything. And it was so cool to see that representation, which we've talked about on the show too, of like that's so important to see in cosplay. Like you don't have to be the exact body style or the exact color of the person who's in the thing. And it's like I loved seeing all the beautiful rogue cosplayers in their element and it just made me feel so good. I love that.
Yeah, and commenting on that, that's the great thing about coming to these cons and cosplayers because we saw cosplayers who were at least in their 60s, if not their 70s,
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to today. I was doing Jim Hopper from Stranger Things, and like a 5, 6 year old girl dressed as 11 walked up to me and wanted to get a photo.
And she went up to you. She's like, "Can I have
yeah,
a photo?" Like she
yes,
was bawling.
yes. And I was just like, out of all the great photos that I got from this weekend with different cosplayers and different people, that one's probably got to be my favorite because
Yeah,
just this little girl is like, "Can I get a photo with you?" And she's got like, the blood running down her eyes and down her nose, and is
the little nightgown.
yeah, buzzed head wearing the hospital gown. It was so cool.
It was really cool, and that's the thing that makes me absolutely so happy too to see is like that little kid gets to start off with such acceptance and like creativity.
Mhm.
And it makes me a little jealous, not gonna lie. Like I'm so excited for her future.
hmm Yeah, and that's important.
Yeah.
That's like important for us as a community to recognize that. And yeah, absolutely, because I guarantee you, if I would have tried to dress up even at like 12, I'd have gotten my ass beat, back in the day. And we're more accepting, and I think it's really awesome, just like you said, that kids can start their journey that way and not have to worry about, being thought of as a weirdo. Well, she may be, but she's one of our weirdos,
Yeah.
and that's what's fantastic.
Yeah, no, you're right. And yeah, that's what we want to see. And seeing how many people were there, it shows that things are changing and for the better. And so here's to 2024 WonderCon of more people, more weirdos.
Yeah, yeah, and we are absolutely 100% going to be back next year. Like this is an annual experience that I don't think can ever be missed
No.
for any reason.
Unless my colon decides to take a leave of absence.
That's a shit joke. As a reference, we were supposed to do New York City Comic Con in October, and 2 weeks before the my innards were like, "That's not happening," and I ended up in an OR, so that trip got canceled.
So this will be a running joke.
This will be a running shit joke. Absolutely, yes. Crap on all of our plans.
Literally.
Yeah, it did happen. But yeah, WonderCon 2023 is in the books. Kayla is on to MegaCon in Orlando next weekend. I am on to C2E2 in Chicago next weekend. And there are going to be much more madness and hijinks in our Instagram stories. And so, unless you got anything else to add?
Give us cosplay ideas. That was something that we would talk about. Like we're kind of struggling where we want to have something new and original for ourselves at least, but we're having a little bit of difficulty. So like either talk about what your cosplay plans are or what ones you think would be fun for us to try. Because I think your input matters, and I've asked a couple people beforehand. They've given me really good ideas. Like someone told me I should do Rogue, and when I did my two-toned hair, and then since then, like we made it happen. So that was helpful.
Yeah, I agree because sometimes you have ideas, and then other times there are cosplays that'd be really great for you that you've never even thought of. And somebody brought it up to me. As a matter of fact, that's how I ended up doing Red Guardian, because Brittany brought it up to me like 4 or 5 months. I don't know. She brought it up to me because she was originally talking about doing Yelena for this weekend, which she never ended up doing. And I thought, okay, well, I wonder like what I want to call it. Like I don't like I could just do Butcher again. But I wouldn't mind branching out. And she's the one who kind of brought up the Red Guardian thing, and that's how that all got manifested. Not everybody's gonna have a good idea.
Right.
But there are people out there who do have really good ideas.
Yeah. So share them, even if they're not that great. Who knows? We can't be the ones to judge.
But... Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Nope. Sorry. I was all good to say, well, yeah, this is kind of like our recap, and we plan on posting some footage and stuff of the walkthrough that we did. Granted, we didn't cover nearly all of it, but we covered some fun spots wherever we had like a gap. And some of the cooler parts of Comic-Con.
We did get a lot of great footage between the two of us. We're going to put it all together and put a YouTube video up that's just kind of like our WonderCon 2023 recap, sort of seeing WonderCon through our eyes and sort of like what we experienced. And I promise you it won't be rated mature. We'll keep that footage out of it because we want everybody to enjoy it. So yeah, WonderCon 2023 is a wrap.
Yes, as to more things.
Yes, as is this episode. And we want to thank all of you for watching, tuning in. And we have a lot of exciting things coming with this podcast. We had kind of like our pace had slowed down for a few reasons. And I feel like after this experience, we're like inspired and lit up, and we're like ready to just start firing on all cylinders.
Time to hype it up. So I'm excited for that.
Me too. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.